Hey listeners, I have a little disclaimer for you guys. The information contained in my post and or podcast is personal and general information for motivational purposes only. The information on this podcast is not, nor is intended to be therapy or licensed psychological advice. Nothing I post should be intended or used to replace the care of professional psychologists. If you are in a life crisis and you need emergent help, please dial 988 to be connected with your local Suicide and Crisis Lifeline Network Center for help. Again, that number to dial is 988. By continuing to the episode, you acknowledge and consent that my podcast will not be used as a replacement for professional psychological intervention in any life crisis event. Stay tuned for more. Hey y'all, it's your girl T here at Talks with Queen T. I am so happy to be connecting back with you guys right now. I do want to start off by clearing the air and just clarifying some things. First, I did not forget about you guys. I do want you guys to know that originally, when I started doing this, I mentioned that at some point, I want to get to the place where I can post every week. Unfortunately, right now, just with all the things that are going on and in my life, I'm not able to commit myself to that weekly as of yet. I do want to get to a more stable point where I can post something, whether it's a podcast or whether it's just a connecting thing with you guys every week, so I can stay connected with you guys. So that is my focus, and I will be coming out with more content, more podcast topics, videos, to stay connected with you guys, for you guys to know that I'm here for you in any way possible. But I do want you guys to know that I did not forget about you guys. I know you guys are probably thinking like, yo, it's been a little over a week ago since you last posted, which it probably has. I think it's going over a little bit over 2 weeks. So I wanted you guys to just know that there will be times that my podcast will not be submitted every other week or on an every other week basis. It may be every 2 weeks releasing, just because of the things that are going on. And sometimes you just have to take a break for yourself and to really capture what it is that your goals and your objectives are for whatever it is that you're doing. And basically that's what I've been doing. I've also just been retreating and just really honing in on plans for my future, enjoying time with myself, my family, and just really being at peace and learning to de-stress, okay? But I want you guys to know that I did not forget about you, and I will not forget about you, okay? I want to ask, how are you guys doing? Like, it's been a minute. We ain't really connected, so I really want to know how you guys are doing, how you're feeling, what's really going on with you, like what's new in your life. You know, you got something that you want to talk about. Just know I'm always here, and I'm always have my information readily available to you guys, right? In the light of that, I hope everyone is well enough to know and believe that you are well. And if not, I got you. I'm speaking wellness and peace over everyone right now, to know that even if it's not well in your life or in whatever situation you may be dealing with, I will begin to just say that I'm asking God to change and allow things to become better or well on your behalf. Okay. All right, y'all, let's jump right into this thing. Let me begin by saying, like I said before, just me being at peace and spending quality time with my family. I've just been having a sense of happiness, right? I also don't know what it is, but since our last discussion on celebration or celebrating yourself and ways to celebrate yourself, I've had an elated feeling that I cannot seem to shake. It's like I'm living in a dream or some type of fantasy life that I am winning a lottery. Like, that's the feeling that I have. Like, oh my God, something big, right? And I'm super happy about it. But then when I snap and pull myself back into reality, I'm like, wait, this feels real, but realistically, I know that I'm not in that situation right now. So what is it? And I can't seem to figure it out, but I keep having this unexplainable feeling of happiness hovering over me. And to be honest with you, I am loving it. And I literally had to stop questioning it and just begin to hold on to it. And I've been holding on to it pretty tight because I feel like something is coming, or something great is happening, or something is on the horizon that neither I or anyone will be able to explain, only the Creator himself. Which brings me to speaking on our topic for today, redemption. What is redemption? Let me pull out my little handy dictionary, because I'm not no scholar or no dictionary whiz or anything like that. I know there's some people out there that's listening to me that probably is, but I'm not. So let me pull out my little dictionary. And on a noun perspective, it means the act or process of redeeming, the state of being redeemed. On a Christian or Christianity aspect, it is deliverance from sin through incarnation, sufferings, and death of Christ. Atonement for guilt. To atone for means to offset the bad effect of. The base word here in redemption is, of course, redeem, which means to get or win back, to free from what distresses or harms, to free from captivity, to be free from entanglement or difficulty from or help to overcome something. All I got is one question for y'all. What in your life needs a divine redemption? I'm going to say it again. What in your life, or who, what thing in your life needs a divine redemption? Is it you? Is it your mental well-being? Is it your financial? What is it? It could be anything. Divine, coming right from God, such angelic or sacred. What needs a divine redemption? I truly believe that there are things that God is wanting to remove or purge in order to reconstruct. But the main question here is, are we willing? Are you willing? I do believe that in the world today that we're living in, like I said, it's such chaos, and it's a lot of things that are going on around us. A lot of deaths, a lot of mass killings, a lot of just crazy things going on, which is nothing new. But it's just like, I feel that something is boiling on the horizon, that it's coming to a boiling point, that something is about to explode. But from that explosion, I feel like there's something great happening. And the main thing is, I feel like God is working in a purging or a divine redemption order to bring things back into perspective, or his perspective per se. I have been reading this book about strengthening my prayer life, and how it basically states that prayer is the lifeblood to heaven on earth for us to live supernatural lives, not just natural lives, but supernatural lives. And basically to live up to what our purpose is here on earth. And it's said that if prayer is our lifeblood of our faith, then it's sad to say that many believers on earth are likely anemic. I don't know if anybody caught that, but I'm gonna repeat it. It said, if prayer is our lifeblood of our faith, then it's sad to say that many believers are likely anemic. I was like, wait a minute, hold on. I had to pause reading. First off, I went back and read the sentence, right? And I was like, wait. I was kind of like, ouch, you know what I mean? Like, that hurt me, that touched me too, because it's basically saying you know that, you need to be figuring out a way to making prayer your lifeline or your lifeblood. So me reading that book, it's a resource for me because I know I need to get it. The mold, or get in that mold that prayer for me is my lifeline or is my lifeblood. It's a necessity for me. I know that I need it. I know that it's something that has become of great importance to me. But creating a lifestyle or knowing that it's my lifeblood to my faith and not really doing it or not really acting on it as I should, I'm anemic. I'm out here, and a lot of you may not know, but when you're anemic, a lot of the symptoms that comes up is shortness of breath with exertion, or cold fingers, cold feet, unable to, regulate your body temp, and palpitations, or your heart feel like it's beating out of your chest. It really make you feel, low energy, just really feeling ill, right? So me knowing that, and now with me explaining that to you guys, it dawned on me, and I was like, yo, I'm ill. I am ill out here. Like, not really pulling into that, knowing that if that's my lifeblood, and if I don't do it, I'm going to begin to lack some things that I need to fully be who I am, or to fully be equipped with what I need. And if I'm not doing it the way I'm supposed to be doing, or what I need to be doing with my prayer life, I'm anemic. I said, wow. That's why I was like, let me stop reading. Let me really think about this. Like, I had to grasp my head and was like, oh my God, I'm anemic. And I chuckled and I laughed, and I told my husband, I was like, babe, check this out. Like, I'm gonna read you something and I want to know your response. So when I read it to him, he chuckled and he laughed like, wow, because it amazed me that how much that one sentence put things into perspective for me. And I'm hoping that just by speaking that, it puts things into perspective for you guys. I know that I'm not perfect and I'm far from perfect. And I know a lot of you probably feel that way too, but I'm going to speak on me, right? I'm not perfect, and I know it. And I know that prayer is something that I need to sustain, and making it a lifestyle has been a challenge. Even for me, someone who grew up in church as a PK, aka a pastor's or preacher's kid, I knew it was important, but I never felt like it was a lifestyle for me. Not until now, as an adult, have I come to the realization that it's a method of surviving for me. Before, I just knew, like, excuse me, you guys, I kind of got this drainage going on too, so you may hear me clear myself up a little bit. But I never felt that to pray meant to survive. I always felt that to pray because, like, everybody doing it, and I know that I learned that in, like, just by observing that most people pray when circumstances arise, or people pray when something's happening in their lives. And some people do pray when good things are happening. But I never grasped that as a kid to say that, growing up, I automatically knew, like, going through young adulthood myself, that, like, I need to pray because this is me. This is survival method for me. Now, mind you, I knew who God was. I knew what God was to me. And I knew that God is something that I couldn't get rid of. It was embedded in me. It was drilled in me. Like, that was a part of my makeup, right? I knew all that, but I didn't know the depths of sustaining who this part of me, you know what I mean? I didn't know that I needed to pray. I needed to read. I needed to stay steadfast. I needed to fast sometimes. I didn't know that I had to dig deeper to really connect, to keep this thing that's a part of me at core, just like my hair. You know, I do my hair and I wear my hair the way I want to wear my hair, and it's a part of me. But if you don't put time and energy into taking care of your hair, you'll lose it. And that goes for anything that you do. So it never was put into that perspective for me to really understand it on that level. But now, baby, now I got it. I grasp the fact that if that's something that is a part of my makeup, if that's something that's a part of my core, I have to tend to it. I have to nurture it. I have to baby it at times. I really have to dig into it. So, in my young adult years that I'm living now, I'm learning that I'm not a perfectionist at it. I'm by far the least mastered at it, but that's why I'm here with y'all, because I want y'all to know that, man, I'm young, I'm living, I've done things that I no longer do anymore. I've been in places that I'm no longer in anymore. I'm in places that I'm sure one day I'm going to look back and say, dang, you're not there anymore. So I'm constantly evolving, and I'm noticing that no matter what I do, no matter where I go, no matter who I'm with, no matter how someone perceives me, God is my DNA makeup. He is my core. I wanted to talk to you guys and just to express the concern and the importance of that, and just to give some encouragement all at the same time, okay? I'm going to start by saying, day to day, we go through life and we see, we feel, we hurt, we get hurt, or maybe we even hurt others. Maybe not intentionally, but it happens. We laugh, we smile, we cry. We work, we give, we go through tons, and I mean tons, of emotions, changes, actions, and situations. But do we ever retreat? And in retreat, I mean, do we ever withdraw ourselves? Me, out of all people, this is important for me as well to speak on, because sometimes I feel like I give so much. Not always financially, you guys. And I know a lot of people feel like, oh, giving, to be a giver, it means that you give back to people in a financial standpoint. No. To be a giver, you can give yourself in a lot of different ways that you may not even realize it. Like investing yourself, or giving up time and giving too much time to others and not enough to yourself. It could be a multitude of things that you are a giver in. I have learned it's okay to retreat and revisit if necessary. Necessary meaning it's life or death, or needed to live or sustain. So I know some of y'all sitting here thinking like, oh man, like I need to take a retreat for myself, or I need to get away from some things. And to be honest with you, to be frank, that is necessary. I really feel like in order for you to grow and to manifest yourself and to really be who you're supposed to be, to live in your purpose, sometimes it's important to retreat, you know, and sometimes that retreat does not make sense to others. But guess what? It's not supposed to. It's not meant to make sense to somebody else. What in your life is only meant to make sense to you and the Creator himself. But I want to be a reassurance to you guys. And I just really want to let you know that it's okay. It's okay to be in a state of vulnerability. To be able to retreat is to be vulnerable. You know why? Because in that state, we can surrender and completely give our hearts and be willing to receive what He has to offer. Many people will say, I don't know how to be vulnerable, or I've tried this and I was broken in this state before. And many of us will say that I don't know if I like the sense of being vulnerable. But the one thing that I've noticed that in this state, a lot of us don't call on him, or a lot of us don't even have him as an option in this vulnerable state. He knows our weak points and he knows our strong points. He knows where and what we need to experience a divine redemption. I don't know when or how, but I do trust that feeling of something great is coming. And I speak it that your time is coming. Whatever that means to you in whatever area of your life, just know that it is coming. But the key here is to stay in place. If you need to retreat to allow God into your life through vulnerability, then do it. If you don't know how to be vulnerable, or if you're scared to be in that state of vulnerability that you were in before because you may have been pushed there by something that have happened to you, or you may not like the feeling that you can recall that you were when you were previously in that state. Whatever the reason is, y'all, I'm telling you, that is your homework. Figure out how to get into that state. How to progress to that state of vulnerability. This will begin to open the gateway to things in your life that have become burdens, dead weight, distractors, unnecessary stressors, meaningless connections, lacking factors or thereof. Whatever it is, God will begin to drop and elevate what needs to be elevated in your life to place you where he wants you to begin to live your life in purpose. His way through divine redemption. He wants us to live in the purpose that he has created us for. I've been praying for God to hear me out and hear my heart, my thoughts, remove what shouldn't be and help me understand what's left. Some things I felt that should have been removed was not removed. And I asked God, why am I still dealing with this? Why am I still being reminded of this flaw that I have in my life, God? And I'm asking you to remove it from me, to help me be rid myself of this so that I can elevate, so that I can move forward in this situation. Why is it still here? I'll ask him, like, what is it that I need to be doing with this? And no, he does not always answer me right then. Sometimes he don't answer me for weeks. Sometimes I don't get a revelation of why it was still there for weeks, months. But when I get it, it clicks. It's like a simultaneously like a haha or aha moment. And when I get the understanding of it, it's like a ton of bricks being lifted. And I'm like, oh my God, this is something he wanted me to see within myself so I could acknowledge it and choose to change or keep this about myself. He gave me the option, the choice to say, this is something that I see within me now, God. Not that he gave me the option to say, what do I do? He gave me the option to see it, because he knew that once I seen it about myself, that I would make a choice, not question it, but I would make a choice to say, okay, that's just me. Or, okay, we got to get rid of this, right? But he gave me a choice. He knew that I would make a choice to keep this thing or get rid of this thing. God will place you on a path, but that doesn't mean he will wipe or give you a clean slate on everything, because faith without works is dead. We want to have clean slates. We want to get a redo, or we want to be redeemed and to be made like new. But are we willing to have to make hard choices to grow? Are we willing to have to be tended to, or to have to learn things through hard decisions. He knows who we are and he knows who we will become. But the story between those points is up to us in choosing how we go about getting through the path. God wants us to learn or to lean into him more and to begin to allow him to begin the divine redemption process so we can live our lives in his purpose and his will. Not to say that it will be easy, because baby, trust me, you will not have something that is so great or experience something that is so great without some form of trouble or some form of pushback. Nothing that people have is not worked for or have not had any effort put into it, right? But I want you guys to understand that I'm not saying that it's going to be simple or it's going to be easy once you open your sense of vulnerability and you open up the pathway to things that God wants you to be. I'm not saying that it's going to be easy, because rest assured, we are all humanly flawed and we live in a flawed world. It will be a challenge to live out a premeditated, well-constructed life that he has created for us. But it is worth it. You are worth choosing yourself to get to that point. And that's a question that I feel like we must all ask ourselves. For me, I will say yes quickly. That yes, I'm willing to go through these hard times. I'm willing to allow these hard times to maybe at some point break me or at some point build me up. I'm willing to accept the challenge of going through that. For me, like I said, it's a quick yes. I've lived life not perfect, but normal for years. I've lived life not keeping God close to me and just living life the way I wanted to on my own terms, versus now keeping him in the center and at the core and learning to intertwine him with my life and my lifestyle. I could not tell you enough how much of a difference I have experienced things in my life just by doing that. I know that by allowing myself to become vulnerable and letting God into the depths of my life to begin to redeem me, begin my redemption process, or begin that redemption process within me, it will be even better than I've ever experienced thus far or experienced him before. I want to be right at his feet when he shows himself to be God in my life. I don't know where anyone wants to be when God reveals himself to you in whatever way he reveals himself to you. I don't know where else you would want to be than right there in his presence. I don't know where else I would want to be. I want to be right there to feel, to be filled, to feel and to be filled. I want to be right there where I can just sense and I can just touch it. That feeling, y'all, that feeling that I've been trying to shake all these weeks, I have not been able to shake because he's been trying to deal with me on things. He's been trying to purge and remove and get me to dig a little deeper, no matter how challenging or no matter how many times I question, God, what is this? This is not something that I'm experiencing that in my reality of my life, that it's not something that's key or major that's happening for me right now. Why are you giving me this sense of euphoria, this big event that I feel on the horizon? Why are you giving me that feeling? I don't see it. I don't have it. Why are you giving me that feeling? What is it that you want me to do in order to understand this feeling? No matter how many times I questioned it, no matter how many times I said those things, he never revealed it to me. Not until one day, folding clothes, he gave me the words, divine redemption. And I kept repeating those words to myself, redemption, divinity. Like, what does this mean? What does this mean to me? What does it mean for me to be speaking on the divine redemption? He's wanting to do a thing in us. He's wanting to do a thing in all of us, in this world. We've been through so much these past couple of years with COVID and with things changing and with new things arising, with division. Like, God, there has been so much that has happened in this world that he is trying to be rid the people of. And he will. That great moment that I've been feeling, it's coming. But I do know in order for that great moment to happen, there's a boiling point. And I want to rest assured to my listeners, to everyone, that you don't have to be perfect. Nobody's perfect. You don't have to be a preacher. You don't have to be a teacher. You don't have to be anything but your dirty old ragged self to just say, I want a divine redemption. I want a change. I want a restart. I want a reboot. Me, little old me from where I am right now, that's what I need. And so, y'all, I had to come on here today. I had to, because it was weighing on me. I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't know how to handle it. He gave me the sense that he wants us to be in, that sense of happiness. But I didn't know why he was giving it to me. Why are you giving me this sense of happiness, even when things come up in my life that are like, this should be making me sad, or this should be something that I'm struggling with? Why are you giving me this sense of happiness? I don't even know how to connect that happiness to things in my life right now. But it was because he wanted me to speak on it, to talk about it, for me to understand it. Me talking about it, talking with y'all right now, is helping me understand things that I have not been able to understand for the past few weeks. So I'm here with y'all. I'm learning things with y'all. I'm going through the process with y'all. This is not me saying that I'm better than anybody, because I'm not. I want y'all to know that I am far from perfect. I'm not a perfectionist. I'm not a preacher. I'm not a pastor. I'm not a teacher. I am just a young girl living life one day at a time, just like you. I have only learned through life thus far that God has only become my center because I have witnessed his goodness in my life. I've witnessed the things that he's came and he's changed in my life. Not because my mama or my cousin Pookie or my granny Poo Poo or whatever the situation is. I have only become into realization that God is the center. He's my core. Not because they told me, but because I seen it for myself. And let me just tell you, it is a wondrous feeling to know him for your own self and have a bond between only you and him. It's an amazing feeling, y'all, to know that you know him for yourself. You know him because you know him. Not because somebody else told you about him. Not because I'm telling you about him. Not because I'm speaking on him and how he is to me. Trust and believe how he is to me. He could never be to you. because it's you. He knows you more than I know you. He knows you and your situations and where you come from, what you've been through. He knows all of you more than anybody else could ever. So what he is and what he shall be to you, it's all on you. So y'all pray more, because remember, we don't want to become anemic. It's our lifeblood. And as I mentioned before, if you don't know where to begin, there's many resources out there. And let me say many, even myself, I've had to do research things for myself. Growing up in the church it set a foundation for me. But at the end of the day, I had to make a choice. So there's been a lot of great resources out there for me that I've had to research and learn that my prayer life, what is it to have a prayer life? What does praying mean? What is praying? For me, it's a conversation between me and God in a peaceful state. That's what a prayer life is for me. I pray. I pray when I'm about to eat. I pray when I'm in a situation. I pray before I travel. I pray when I'm in unknown situations. That's praying for me. But what is a prayer life for me look like? And it's in a peaceful state of a conversation between me and God and listening. Which brings me to my next point. Don't be afraid to be vulnerable. It may have been a place of brokenness for you before, but today choose to be humble and vulnerable, not because someone's actions caused you to be there, but because you chose to start at a low point to watch him take you up to higher points. Let him in. Let him do a divine redemption within you. All he needs is an open invitation. That's all he needs. That's all he wants is a yes. I may not know where to start, or yes, I may not know what this looks like. I may not even know what I'm doing. I may not even know why I'm saying yes. But yes. I want that sense of happiness. I want that sense of euphoria. I want to be in the purpose that you have premeditated for me. I want to be living in that. Because I'm going to tell you something right now. Living in that comes great. Yes, it comes with great sacrifice. Because you're going to have to go through some things. But it comes with great fulfillment. It really does, y'all. So lastly, I just want to leave you guys with a little bit of something. It's a scripture that I read coming from Proverbs 16:9 through 10. And it's coming from the Amplified version. It states, "A man's mind plans his way as he journeys through life, but the Lord directs his steps and establishes them." Verse 10 starts by saying, a divine decision given by God. God will work in whatever way he wants to. Most of the time, he works in mysterious or miraculous ways. We know that his work is divine. He's the creator of the little and the everyday things that we go through. And also, he's a perfecter of the precious, tender, yet grander, gestured things like a rose. All of his showings of his creativity, all of these things that he's the creator of, it shows his divine creative order and detail. We often forget how he is well invested in our well-being. As I mentioned in a previous episode, he wants us to live happy. He wants us to be happy. He wants us to be in our purpose. I don't know about you all, but I can think of so many different ways that he has brought me through difficult or seemingly impossible situations. But one thing I stand firm on is nothing is too hard for my God. Yes, I thank God that he never ceases to amaze me. And through my life and answering my prayers, God, he speaks to me, and I want him to continue to be able to speak to me. Let me always be able to hear his tender voice. And I want him to always order my steps, to be in alignment with his will. No matter how far I sway or how many times I may trip, I want God to order my movements to stay in place when I need to be in place, and to posture me for movement when I need to be moved. I want this to be a step-by-step guidance for all of us to live out our purpose through God's divine redemption. You guys, oh my God. This has been an amazing experience for me, and I hope it has been an amazing, full experience for you. And this right here is a place where I need to allow him to speak to me. And I want you all to allow the same thing. At the ending of this podcast, I want you to just take a moment to allow God to speak to you. I'm asking God right now to speak to those who are under the sound of this podcast. God, speak to us and give us guidance, oh God. We thank you for clarity and clearance on what it is that you want from us, on what it is that you want for us to do. Speak to us. You are here now, God. We thank you for being here in the presence of our voice, God. We thank you for being in our space. Speak to us, God. Allow us to hear your voice. In this moment, I don't want to stop what is happening, or I don't want to get in the way of God being in your space. So let me just bring this in right now for you guys. I want y'all to stay tuned in and connected with me. I know that I'm always here for whatever you may need. I may not respond immediately. I may be retreating to really grasp the things I need to grasp and to hear God, but I'm here for you. I'm working on more content and podcasts and topics, like I mentioned before. It's coming soon. I want you guys to just stay connected. And I'm always trying to figure out ways for me to set things into reality for you guys, and to show you how I live, to be real and at peace, all while keeping God at my center. And we're going to dig some more into that. So just stay tuned from what's coming soon, okay? That is all for today, you guys. Y'all already know what it is. Keep it real. Stay true to who you are. And never let peace, love, and laughter die in your hearts. And if it has, find a way back to where you last had it. T is out. I love y'all. Always, always know that if nobody ever tells you, I love y'all. Peace.